Hi, Colleen here. I just want to share a card with you today. It's called a corner flip card, and I'll have to turn it sideways so you can see it properly, but when you open it up the corner flips around and sits there. It should sit this way, but it's a bit hard to see the full thing open. So that's how it goes, and then that just shuts back down. Isn't it a cute little design? I found it on Pinterest yesterday and I really liked it, and I thought I'll give it a go, and I'm going to share it with you today. It's a very easy little card to make. I've got all the measurements and they'll all be printed up for you on the site, so you'll be able to see them. So we'll get started. Now our card base measures 11 inches by 4 1/4, and we're going to score that. So I'll just grab my scoring blade. We're going to score it on our trimmer. Ignore these lines for a minute, they're just there for when I'm doing envelopes, but that's another story. So we're going to lay this in at 5 1/2 inches. Oh, and I should have taken that blade out. And we're going to score at 5 1/2. Then we're going to pull this back here to 4 1/4. So this becomes the front, and we're just going to make a tiny little mark there. So you've got just a tiny little mark on that corner, and then we're going to lay that in. So where that mark is, we're going to score from that mark down to that corner. So you lay that into the trimmer, into the channel. So you've got the point of the mark there and the corner. I don't know how well you can see that. Oh yeah. So you've got that, your mark there and your corner there, and then you score. And that's all you're going to do. That's all the scoring done. Excuse my head. I'll get my chair back. Right, so now we're going to fold and burnish all our score lines. Now this one here is going to fold back on itself. Just like that. That's all you need to do. Okay? So now that's our card prepared. Now we're going to talk about our pieces. Now I'll do our inside pieces. The pieces that will go on the inside of the card measure 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 in the sapphire, and the white piece, which you're going to be stamping on, will measure 3 inches by 4 1/4. So you'll need those, and we'll pop them aside because we're going to stamp on that shortly. For the front section of the card here, we're going to take the red square and we're actually going to cut it on the diagonal. So we're going to cut from the right hand corner to the bottom left. And I'll just get the trimmer back up to do that. So we're going to place it in on that angle with the points in the channel. Now I always like to start part way in so I don't damage the corners, and that's my 2 pieces cut. Now we're going to adhere these 2 pieces onto this section here. Now I've found that it's best to get this one on the actual fold line to line it up so you get a nice border around, and this one here you just lay it in with the border, so that way you have a nice border up the center and around the sides. And I love this Blue Skies paper, it's beautiful. This lovely cardstock. It reminds me of the old fundamentals that we used to have. They were my favourites. So we're just going to line that up on the fold line as best as you can. So it'll sit like that. And then we'll take the bottom piece and we're going to lay that in here so that we get a nice even border all the way around. So there, that's that piece done. I'll pop that aside. Now for our front pieces, we need a piece that measures, excuse me, I have written it down, I will tell you. This is 3.5 by 3.5, and that's in sapphire. In the green apple, it measures 3.25 by 3.25, and our front piece measures 3 by 3, and that's in the blue sky paper. And we're going to adhere those together and then attach them to the front of the card. So like I said, it really is a very simple, easy, but quite an effective card to make. It's got the element of being a fun fold card without any difficulty to it. And because I've used a paper that is non-directional, when you open it up, it doesn't matter that it twists in the opposite direction. It's because it's non-directional, it doesn't matter which way it goes, so that it still looks the same one way or open. So that's what I really liked about this one. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put a 3D foam dot there, wherever, oh here they are. And I'm a bit spongy, I like to cut mine. So I'm going to put one here in the middle, and then I'm going to put one here at the top on this section. And that's all I'll do for the minute. And then you'll see how this is the best way so that you don't get any that are going to come off. You don't want any foam tape or anything that's going to come off this edge to impede the card from opening. And now I'm going to lay this on here. Like so. And just press that on. So now I have an even border. And now when I open it up, I can lift this here and add some foam onto this section. Oh. Don't move, Colsey, stick it on the red. And press that down. And go to the other side. Pop it onto the red piece there. And then press that down. And that way, when you open it up, there's nothing hanging over here. They're all hidden. So that's how that bit goes. Now we're going to stamp onto our white piece. And for this, we are going to be using, for the large flower and the leaves, I'm using ruby, green apple and sapphire. And these flowers come from the Blue Beautiful Day stamp set, which I had just a second ago. Oh, here they are. So here it is here. So it's the Beautiful Day, and we're using that flower, that piece, these two leaves, that flower and that little bit there. So we're going to be using those just on this bit today. Now I need to get a bit of scrap paper. And what I'm going to do is stamp the big flower first. Oh, and I've also done some cutouts of the big flower and the little one, because I need those in a minute. I want to have the big flower 3D and the little one just sat there, but I want them to, the leaves to be underneath. So I'm going to actually stamp. Now, it may look a bit silly when I do it, but you'll understand when I've finished. So I'm going to stamp the big flower here in the corner. And be careful not to get ink everywhere. And I've used the wrong colour ink. That was close. I put ruby in it. Picked up ruby. It doesn't matter. You're not going to see it in a minute. Okay, so it's candy apple. Candy apple, candy apple. I better clean this off, seeing as I made an error. And yes, mine is rather disgusting, but it still works a treat, and I love it. My chamois. Couldn't think of the name of the word. Right, so that's going to go there. Now I'm going to take some of these leaves, And in the green apple, I'll just close that for a minute. In the green apple, I'm going to stamp leaves. Now I'm actually stamping them through the flower, but like I said, this won't matter for the minute, because what's going to happen is when I do the other bigger flower, it's going to cover it. This is just giving me an idea of where I want my leaves to go, how I want them to look. So you can see how they're sitting here, but once I put the flower on top, you won't see any of that, so that's the main thing. Got to be careful, I keep getting ink everywhere. Right, a couple more of these ones. Just in here, just to fill up a bit of a hole. And that's all I'm going to do to that. So I'll just pop that aside for a minute. I'll just clean off my stamps, pop them aside and get ready to put them away in a minute. Now we're going to stamp out the larger flower. So there he is. Now I'm going to make sure that it lines up. So I've worked out that that funny shape there is that section there. And now I'm going to stamp that in the candy apple. Candy apple cozy, get it right. There we go. Lovely. I'll wipe that off. Now for the centre, I'm going to stamp that in sapphire. It doesn't matter whether it looks perfect or not. The flowers on the paper itself are quite rustic, so the whole thing sort of all ties in nicely together. Now I'm going to bring this back in, and I'm going to get a 3D foam dot again. Peel the tops off. Then work out where this is going to sit, which is this way, and lay it on. See, now you can't see the flower underneath, but you've got that nice covering of leaves, and that way it gave me that nice area of where it was going to sit. Now the other flower I'm going to do in Lagoon, and yes, I can't find my Lagoon ink pad, so I had to go back to the old one. I have no idea what I've done with it. Typical. So ink it up. Now it does have, that way, there's a little dimple in one of the larger flower bits, and that's it there. Ta-da! And for the centre of this one, I'm using, there it is, canary, not lemonade, canary. I've lost the plot, I think. Right, so we'll stamp that right into the middle. And then I'm going to adhere that to the card. So I'm going to tuck that in there. So that I'm going to adhere now to the and this I will adhere to the inside of the card. Now the way you put it on you need to make sure that it's even and slightly more towards the top, and that when that folds down it hides it, so that it's a surprise when they open it. As you can see how that looks. Hopefully it's not crooked. Wouldn't surprise me. Everything else is. There we go. And then on the inside middle of this one, I'm going to stamp Best Wishes, and that's going to be in candy apple. But you could choose whatever colour you'd like to use. Whatever, and you can do this in any kind of paper. It doesn't have to be in the blue skies. Just pick something that looks really nice together. I could imagine this done in the Aurora. This would be really lovely as a masculine card. And you could have a really nice, one of the lovely pictures that are on the stamp set, which I can't think of at the moment. But anyway, so that's bits there. Now for the top section, we're going to adhere this piece of sapphire, which is 1 inch by 4 1/4, and because the depth there is 1 1/4 inches, so I'm going to pop this on. I wanted that to go across, and then for this bit here, which I've got ink on, which doesn't surprise me, I'm going to stamp the Happy Birthday from the Time to Celebrate stamp set. Okay, so I've just used the happy and the birthday, and then I've laid them onto the mat and then lined them up so that I end up with the words right. And when I was stamping this before, I stamped it upside down, so I've got to be careful. Right. So we'll stamp this in candy apple ink. But like I said, you can use any colour you want. Make sure this round the right way. Ink it up. Now it may be skew with because it's a bit hard for me to see without getting my big head in the way. Right, hopefully that worked. If not, it'll be interesting. Not too bad. Right. Now we're going to dovetail the ends. Like so. And then I'll put 3D foam on the back. And attach that to the top of the card. I thought I had it upside down. Thought that wouldn't surprise me. So that's it. That's how easy it is to make this card. And like I said, when you open it this way, but unfortunately because it doesn't show up properly, I'll open it that way for you. So you can see the full length of the card. So you've got your triangles that are sort of facing each other, but then when it flips down, they become a square again. I just thought it was a really fabulous idea and a fabulous look to a card. So I hope you enjoy making this one today. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.